I'll try to pursue this week, as I've been doing a lot of replay casting to make up for the North American audience who can't wake up this early. However, my favorite new intro coming up. We'll see you guys in a sec. Welcome back, everybody, one and all. This is the Acer Team Story Cup Season 3. Currently, mYinsanity fights against NewRoSoft in a best of 9 between these two teams. And you'll notice there is no score displayed in-game. A big part of that is because this is a best of 1 between these two players, but a best of 9 between the two teams. All scores will be displayed and updated on the out-of-game overlay. But currently, the score, at the moment, is 1-0, and the person holding that 1 is, in the top right corner of the map, the Red Zerg player representing MYI, Serral. And his opponent in the lower left, playing for NewRoSoft with the voice of an angel. It is Nightend. Of course, that really nice Game Heart logo overlay thing is a nice thing to have here going on the European server. I think at the moment the European server is the only one that has the workers killed as the addition. As far as what I'm talking about that, you guys are so used to seeing the upgrade bar over here for Game Heart, the stronger team colors, but also more recently, right around the time of DreamHack, they added another option over here on the left side above the minimap, which will show and display workers killed during a fight. Now, I'm not talking workers killed like this bar, but it'll show like exactly 7 workers were killed in that engagement, rather than, 17 were killed overall in the game. It's actually a really neat feature, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. I can't wait till that gets over to North America and Korea and all the other places where Game Heart's often utilized. Oh, as far as betting goes, guys, I see some people joining in a little bit late to the party. At the moment, the betting pools are closed. The way we're doing bets today is not based on players, it's not based on matches or teams, it's simply going to be based on win streaks. So after this current win streak from Serral ends, we will reopen the bets to see how long the next win streak will last for the next player, and so forth and so forth. Nightend's actually got a pretty good chance here. I kind of joke about Nightend a lot because through whatever poor coincidence, anytime we've cast Nightend in the last, say, half a year, every tournament he's either forfeit upon his chance to start competing, or he'll lose game 1 and forfeit as well. Now, this isn't me to try to bring down his character by any means. Oftentimes it's things like time constraints or realizing that the server's not working out for him, whatever the case may be. He's had legitimate reasons to leave tournaments in the past, and it's just been bad luck that it's been the few times we've cast him. So here in the Acer Team Story Cup, of course, there's not a lot of forfeit options available to. And I gotta give credit to the admins for that. A lot of what they did was set up a very strict, very stern set of rules with very specific punishments for certain actions, this and that. And it might seem a little unfair at times, but they apply it to everybody fairly, and there's no exception. So it's pretty cool that this is a league that can be run so smoothly. That's why you don't see anyone having issues like this at all at any time. I mean, I can't even think. The last season, I think there was a couple, I don't know, the odd, not necessarily forfeits, but like late no-shows, so you have kind of def wins go off. I mean, there's a lot of little things, a lot of intricacies to the Acer Team Story Cup. Why am I getting the Rifkin faces in chat? What did I do? Alright, well, whatever the case may be, we have a Zergling pop-off here. But he does get it for a scout, and that was actually kind of a cool move. If you guys didn't see it, one of the really nice things about it was kind of snuck him around the mineral line, making sure he would get past the Zealots, would kind of duck past the Mothership Core, and big scout off on 2 gases. Don't know if he saw the Stargate. He did see the Stargate, so he knows the Stargate's on the way. Serral will be able to reconfirm that it wasn't canceled right away either. So Zergling does manage to get a little bit more out of his life, I suppose. So the question is, what do? You see a Stargate opening as a Zerg player, what are your options? Well, you have to consider what they'll be making out of the Stargate first. Chances are not a Void Ray. If this is a player like, say, Arthur, yeah, maybe a Void Ray. But because it's Nightend, chances are we may see the Oracle come out first, followed up by Phoenixes, or the immediate Phoenix production. I can feel the latter of the two is much better. Phoenixes given in the right hands can be so abusive and so aggressive in the early game, and it will be a Phoenix coming out first. I think we can also base this on the fact that it seems to be only North Americans that really go with the Oracle opener into Phoenixes. I don't know why or what the case for that is. It just seems to be the case when we do cast people. Now, this is kind of this could lead one of two directions. One direction is your common sort of dance in PvZ. You know, you send out the Phoenixes first, so your opponent makes Hydralisks. But knowing that your opponent's going to make Hydralisks, you make Colossus, they make Vipers, and it becomes this really very common way to play this out. Not at all interesting in my opinion, because it's kind of the boring same old, and you'll get these very anticlimactic conclusions to the game. Now, what another option for Serral is, you could actually just invest in a lot of Lings, get extra bases, maybe you'll Ling Hydra, but that requires a lot of creep spread, which granted he's doing, but we'll see if it's going to be enough to dedicate towards it. Ling Hydra is something that works because not only do the Hydras try to deal with the Phoenixes, but it's meant to hit at timings before there's 5 Colossus in play, before there's anything to really deal with that massive swarm of units, and the idea behind it as well is there's not going to be enough Phoenixes to Graviton beam up every Hydralisk and every Zergling. The damage will be cut, and these Phoenixes, which can only shoot air, will be somewhat useless. But the very typical, very common response is roaches, roaches, and more roaches. However, I don't see a roach worn down yet, and I think he's just going straight to Hydralisks by the looks of things. I do like the double Spore Crawlers coming down. A couple drones are going to die. There's no way to really stop this. The Queen may even fall if not careful, but you know, it's a hard call to make. Hey, there's the worker skill thing I was talking about, by the way. Ooh, how cool, how slick is that? Anyways, my point for this is, you'll oftentimes see Zerg players, they'll do one Spore Crawler, maybe 2 over here, and like 1 in the transition spot. But Phoenixes get out of hand really quick. They snowball very fast. And if you don't have enough Spore Crawlers, suddenly you'll be like, oh, I may have saved 2 drones earlier on, but now I've lost 12 later on. So it's a hard decision to make, but I feel every single time it's worth the investment. I can't think of any select scenarios where saving those 300 minerals and those 3 drones would be worth it. Snipes off one of the Phoenixes, actually. Really nice move there with those Queens. Good job, gals. No, actually, wait, it wasn't the Queens that got it. What the hell killed that Phoenix? Oh, the Spore Crawler. I didn't even see the Spore Crawler hidden amongst the Queens, and I don't think Nightend did either. I was looking around like, what could have possibly killed it? I heard Queens attack him, but I didn't see Hydralisks, and anyways, Voidery coming out of this too is not too bad. 1 or 2 is a decent amount to have. Sometimes we'll see players go as high as 3, but rarely beyond that. They're such an expensive investment, and while they can be fantastic against Hydralisks 1-to-1, you're never really going to have Hydralisk to Voidery ratios of 1-to-1. Voideries produce too slow, they're way too expensive, and Hydralisks can be made en masse. However, this was kind of, I think, in prediction of roaches. They'll help out versus Zerglings, of course, but unfortunately, Nightend is not going to be finding a lot of roaches to fight. In fact, the roach were very, very late. And these Spore Crawlers combined with the Queen seem to be driving these back. Not too bad. It's a little unfortunate that Nightend discontinued his Phoenix production. If you guys have ever seen players like Monty, and in some select scenarios Desro as well, these are guys who can really get abusive when it's like 13, 15, 20 Phoenixes, but not the case today. Nightend just continuing to scout for the time being. Not a bad use of the Phoenix. I guess it's better than them being idle, but his 3rd base on the way and no second Robo in sight means his production's going to be pretty stinted and pretty limited. 1 or 2 Colossus will be out, but Hive has already been made, guys. This is much earlier than normal. So this also means, coincidentally, Vipers will be out much sooner than normal, and that's kind of the other advantage to having a lot of Phoenixes. You can zone out Vipers. You don't necessarily need high tempo for feedbacks if you can just straight up shoot them to death. But there's the probe transfer coming over to the 3rd, so Nightend's gonna have this really nice economy going. But Serral, ooh, Serral really boldly taking the gold base right now. Not at all a bad move, but a risky one. This is not only going to expose this base a little bit more, but it makes it a much higher priority target for Nightend. No longer will he want to necessarily sit back and chill to 200 on 2 bases, but if he scouts that gold, which he has, he may be prompted to attack a little bit sooner. Now granted, emphasis here is little bit. I don't know how much dedication he'll put into it, but this army is far too small to fight Hydralisks out in the open. They've been revealed by the Phoenix too, again, trying to scout with these. The Oracle? What? Okay. This is an interesting choice for a multitude of reasons. I don't think it's going to be used for base sniping. I think this is designed for one of two reasons. One is either purely and entirely for the gold, knowing that new sport crawlers are very unlikely to be made now that the Phoenixes have been picked off. Or alternatively, it does deal a ton of damage to Hydralisks. Oracles have bonus versus light. The third and only other possible reason I could think of would be maybe for the Revelation skill. Tag the army with it, know where Serral is at all times, and tailor your engagements to be perfect. I mean, I can't... An Oracle this late in the game just doesn't seem like a great investment, to be honest. But we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. Serral's army right outside the door, though. That is a lot of cannons. You don't typically see cannon defense really emphasized in StarCraft 2. These Templar, of course, out in the field waiting for those feedbacks. Not here for Archons, not here for Storms, but would be great to have for later on. But there's the tag on the army with that Revelation. So for those who don't know what Revelation does, quick peek. It shows you the immediate vicinity around the units that are hit. It lasts for about a minute. And wow, actually Serral has creep. Not only blocking out Nightend's gold, but on this side of the map. Now he does manage to land all of those feedbacks, so not a single Viper going to get the job done here, which means this army has to retreat. The downside to this, of course, is the way we see you can't fight this army, you can't deal with the Colossus. There's no Corruptors. Mutalisks are the transition, which, I don't know, I got a question from Serral a little bit. He's got money to burn. That's the advantage of this gold base, but the problem is he doesn't have a bank, and these Mutalisks, the transition is not going to be that normally is where, hey, look, you killed all the Stalkers, now there's no anti-air. Granted, the Phoenix have been picked off, but the question is going to be whether these Mutalisks will be enough. Now, they got the potential to go around the map, go for, say, the main, start picking off pylons, picking off probes. Maybe the mentality of forcing Nightend back home, but this swing around the Rosie Serral just performed. Not only did that almost put him in direct contact with the Colossus, maybe could have sniped one or two on the retreat, but it's drawn the army away. Now the Mutalisks do get towards the main, the probes have been pulled, but this also gave him all the time in the world he needed to actually build these Mutalisks. Do keep in mind, guys, Nightend was encroaching on that natural base right around the time they had been started. So, 6 kills for 6 so far. Not a lot of workers have died. Roach is still playing ring around the Rosie and cat and mouse and chase, whatever you want to call this. But the army is pursuing this. 6 cannons coming down at various bases, mostly within the mineral lines. He knows Mutalisks will be a problem, and he's not going to have the mobility to keep up with them. Blink has finished with noting, but actually Serral gets a main base snipe. I should be able to get out of here with the majority of these alive. Yeah, the Blink Stalkers had to blink to engage rather than blink to chase. And Archon being warped in, recognizing he no longer needs those feedbacks. I think Storm wouldn't be too bad to mix in here. Storm's never a bad option to have, but a couple of Mutalisks being picked off on that reinforcement. That rally is a little unfortunate. And of course, Archons are going to shred these if they clump. But the reality is, then the question has to be asked, can Serral fight this army? Can he take Nightend and head-on fight? He's trying to go around, but with this many cannons, even this isn't going to really cut it. Oftentimes, you'll find 2 or 3, and you're like, ha, I laugh at you. These are Mutalisks. But no, that's a lot of Blink Stalkers with this as well. Cannons are getting focused down. That's a lot of Lings flooding in here, but 23 Mutalisks, 22 Mutalisks cannot be lost. He needs every single one of these alive. Lings getting on top of the Stalkers is going to help with this a lot. They'll be busy shooting the Lings instead of focus firing the Mutalisks, which means Serral may just barely inch out with enough to take this base down. That being said, it's going to be barely at best, because right now there's still cannons behind this. Blink Stalkers being warped in. Blink moves forward and advances. More Lings flooding across the reinforcement. While this is going on, he's lost his gold. The army Nightend rather, is pushing. This base was evacuated, not killed, worth noting. Transferred over here to the new base on the side of the map, but you know that gold is gone. The economy is no longer there to waste. Serral's resources lost is in the gutter, and his Mutalisk count should have been much higher than it currently is. But still persisting to use and insisting on using the Lings and the Mutalisks, trying to get some damage done at this base, knowing his opponent's also in a very desperate situation economically. There's only one base really mining. The Natural still got a lot of minerals in it, but this is going to be the one he's going to rely on for the next 10 minutes in the game. The Natural base isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but it will eventually mine out. Now while this has been going on, looks like the Overlord farm's been left alive. Nightend's been getting work done on this side of the map as well, guys. 32 workers being killed. Mutalisks, unfortunately going to go down because they're rallied in a very awkward spot. They get absolutely nothing done because this focus is down here towards the south. Serral's still trying to press the issue, avoiding a head-on engagement. But it's not going to work. Even if he kills the base at this point, he's losing everything at home, and I don't think he realizes he's slowly bleeding this game out. Granted, he's got this base flourishing at the moment. The Spire's down here, not in the main, but Mutalisks alone will not win this game. If he had more of them, maybe, but 17 are all that's left. Cannons still standing. Blink Stalkers still standing. And this army, well, I don't know. There's still Void Races, the Archon. There's a lot of Blink Stalkers in this one as well. Nightend might not be able to produce a lot right now, but he's able to produce enough. Finally, Serral manages to chip away the cannons. He chases back the Blink Stalkers and gets into this third. But it's still 88 army supply over 44. Mutalisks might be good, but as long as that one Archon stands, they can't really clump up. They can't engage into this army. The Blink Stalker count's too nice, but he's continuing to produce Mutalisks. If he could get his gas going, if he could get his gas rolling a little bit better, then he'd be able to produce so freaking many. He's got the minerals for it, but one base gas is going to be really hard to produce Mutalisks on. For the exact same reason you don't go one base Mutalisks. He's also leaving some of these weak Stalkers alive, not finishing them off. Just kind of seems to be auto-attacking. Now starting to focus fire a little bit, but the big recall's called down. And does Nightend not know about this base? He does. So he knows where the last base currently of his opponent is, but he doesn't find the secret base Serral's placing down to replace the one he's just lost. Bit of a cutesy move made in doing this. This is... it's such a tough scenario to really evaluate. Because in a head-on engagement, A move versus A move, Nightend wins. But it's not going to be A move versus A move. It's going to be Serral trying to pick off the odd Void Ray for free, pick off the odd Stalker for free. He's operating off of no economy. He's trying to take his natural back while this is happening, worth noting. Hydra's still bleeding out, but I don't think he's planning to make any more Hydralisks for the rest of the game. And, you know, Game 1 for the Easter Team Story Cup combined here with Game 2 have had two very classic themes where neither player's really got that many upgrades rolling for him. Nightend stuck on level 2 weapon upgrades, and Serral I don't think is going past 111 anytime soon. But the army's found the base. The drones have been evacuated, but this is where the Spire is. This is where the only thing producing units is. Somehow this Mutalisk escapes. Will that be a mistake? Will that cost him the game? 17 Mutalisks, 16 Lings. It's just not, there's not a lot of anti-air here, but I feel there's enough. Recognizing that there's two Archons, he tries to split his Mutalisks up a little preemptively, goes for the Void Ray right away, but has to disengage due to the Archon. If he Magic Box, maybe it's a little different, but good game gonna be called, and that win streak lasted for one game. Ladies and gentlemen, your new, I guess not champion, but king of the hill, however you want to look at this, gonna be NewRoSoft's Nightend.